With 10 candidates in two major races going at it for 2 hours, there were some fireworks. And if you watched last night, you know what I'm talking about. NBC4's Brittany Hope kicks off our team coverage with the standout moments from the gubernatorial debate. You know, Brittany, this was an important one to watch.
The stakes are so high, Annabelle. This was the last debate those 7 candidates agreed to. And one thing they were all on the same page about is affordability. There was no question it has become too expensive for families in our state. But how do they plan to fix that? That is where they have majorly different policies. Here's what else the debate dove into: the insurance crisis, gas prices, California's energy infrastructure, the high-speed rail project, homelessness, immigration policy, and health care. A fiery exchange that's gotten a ton of attention came during the discussion about immigration between Katie Porter and Chad Bianco.
I think we ought to enforce the existing sanctuary laws everywhere so we don't have crazy cowboys taking the law into their own hands.
Tell that to a crazy mother who lost her child.
Sir, I don't need any lectures from you about being a mother.
Of course, you might.
Okay. Okay, Pauline.
So we talked to Katie Porter one-on-one after the debate and asked her about that moment that is now making headlines. She told us she is proud of her 3 kids and says she's in this race because she cares about every Californian, including mothers and grandmothers.
You know, Brittany, so I'm very curious, and I think so many people are, right? How is the community reacting to this? I've got to wonder, did this debate even change their minds?
Man, social media last night, this morning, it is all I'm seeing. You know, we have a poll that's on the NBCLA website, right, and I just pulled the data with our digital team, and it shows about a fifth of people who responded say they're still not sure who their candidate is. They're still kind of watching it, figuring it out. But 16% say that they are now going to change their vote. We want to remind you, you can watch the full debate right now on our NBCLA YouTube channel. There is so much to dive into.
There really is. Yeah, a lot to digest as well. All right. As always, thank you so much for that. All right, and let's localize this even more. The mayoral debate also got heated on the NBC4 and Telemundo 52 stage. NBC4's John Cadisclimek is live at Grant Park. John, we heard 3 different visions for the future of Los Angeles.
Yeah, and it got fiery and it got feisty, and I think part of that is probably necessary because there are some voters who still haven't decided who they want to lead the city of Los Angeles going forward from this point. And they talked about a lot of things that the governor's race talked about as well, including here in L.A., housing affordability.
After I declared a state of emergency around homelessness, I expedited the building. 42,000 units are being fast-tracked, but every single thing we can do, rent stabilization, reducing the price of rent, eviction prevention. I started the mayor's fund that allows us to do that.
It is making this into a city that is no longer one of opportunity, and it is not central to anyone else's agenda on this stage except for mine. Oh. The mayor has not had a deputy mayor of housing during a housing crisis for the last 2 years. The ED1 program has entitled 42,000 units, but only 14% of them are actually under construction. What we need to do is make sure that the city gets out of the way.
Well, the good news is when I enforce the law and clear the street of the drug addicts that have taken over 40 blocks of downtown LA, abandoned buildings that have drug addicts just lighting them on fire every other day, I will have potentially 20,000 units available to build.
With one, it gets to January 7th.
About homelessness, the Palisades fire response, even how they plan to bring Hollywood back to Hollywood. And while some did revert to name calling, there was one moment where Councilmember Nithya Raman called out her 2 opponents for potentially working together to push her out of the running in November.
I want to just say to everybody who's watching today, you're going to watch today as Mayor Bass and Spencer Pratt attack me because they want to run against each other in the general election. Each of them thinks that running against each other is what's going to help them win.
First off, Mayor Bass and I are definitely not working together. I blame this person for burning my house and my parents' house and my town and all my neighbors down. I am not working with Mayor Bass. Second off, if I wanted to run against anybody, it would be the council member who is terrible. Mayor Bass has at least been a mayor for almost 4 years and has, as she talked about earlier, the unions, all the unions endorse Mayor Bass. You think it's easier to run against the incumbent mayor with all the unions or a random city council member who's been a failure for 6 years? I would much rather run against Councilwoman Raman. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so a lot of headbutting in that race as well. Of course, the ballots are out now. June 2nd is the primary, so there's still a little bit of time. If you got some thinking to do, some more research to do, or if you want to listen once again to the debates, of course, we've got them on our YouTube channel. Reporting in downtown LA, I'm John Kaides-Klimak, NBC4 News.
Yeah, a lot of standout moments there, John. Thank you so much for that.